And we are live. Let's go and see how these athletes go. So let's take you through the lane draw. In lane number 1, we've got Björk Odensdotter. In lane number 2, we've got Haley Adams. In lane number 3, we've got Danny Spiegel. In lane number 4, we've got Courtney Walker. In lane number 5, it's Jamie Green. In lane number 6, it's Sara Sigmundsdottir. In lane number 7, it's Turi Helgadottir. In lane number 8, it's Emma McQuaid. In lane number 9, Jessica Griffith. And then number 10, it's Sina Krokstad. So go on then, Mads, tell us who you think is going to be the leading athlete in this workout.
There are so many athletes that could crush this. I say this all the time, I know, but it's just because it's absolute truth. Sina Krokstad right here in lane number 10 in the middle of your screen. She's one of these athletes who I think could do really, really well. I also think that Sara Sigmundsdottir is going to go out here and she's going to do really, really well. If Sara Sigmundsdottir is healthy,
Sarah on screen right now,
doesn't have any injuries, this is an event that I think would suit her very, very well. That being said, this entire heat is all full of ninjas that could just throw, throwing stars and nunchucks at each other. I wouldn't be surprised to see anybody else run away with this.
Sara has had her injury problems over the last year. She's had a few surgeries to get herself back to this. How fresh do you think she is coming into this event?
I saw her yesterday, and I've seen her on social media, and I've talked to her coaches a couple of times, and it does sound like she's in a really, really good place. We've seen her in previous competition as well. It looks like she's in a good place, and when Sara Sigmundsdottir is in a good place, it's rough.
So we're just moving into a wide shot here, just so you can see the entire field working through.
So when we're looking at the screen right now, on the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a bunch of ladies and gentlemen in gray shirts. Those are judges, and as the athletes progress through the event, the judges will move backwards. So the judge, the furthest out of your screen, so to speak, will actually be representing the athlete who's currently in the lead.
There we go. That's a very helpful way of looking at this right now. I suppose it's a great measure for those guys in the crowd, so they understand who is where. And also, just to remind you guys of the workout, this is 19.1. It's the opening workout for the CrossFit Games qualifier, the Rebit CrossFit Games qualifier. And we have got a 15-minute AMRAP of 19 wall ball shots and 19 calorie row. For those people joining us on the strengthindepth.com feed, just tell us your thoughts again. We opened up with the opener on Thursday and Friday night with Sam Briggs, with Kelly Friel and Steve Fawcett approaching this, and we saw Sam do a terrific job. We saw Sam do an amazing job in terms of getting out and doing 9 rounds. We just heard from Emma in that last round about how she was aiming for 8, and she did 8 plus 12, and she nailed that out. And it's interesting to see how Sara and all these other athletes get on. But as I say, for those guys watching on strengthindepth.com, just remind them of your thinking on this workout.
And so far, unofficial leaders are Emma Thal with 316 total reps, and then Janie Eady with 315 total reps. Remember, this is unofficial. This is us adding things up right here as we go. We could be wrong, but that's kind of what we're looking for. And I think we're going to see that beat in this heat right now. That's Jamie Green in the middle of your screen right now. And slightly shorter athlete, but an absolute powerhouse. And also one of the things that we know from Jamie Green is that she's been really, really good in the past at sticking to a game plan. She has a great game plan and sticks to it, so I'm interested to see what the game plan is, but also how she sticks with it throughout this entire event.
You just saw the wiping of the hair off her face then, and having to take one hand off the handle there for the rower. Can that be losing time? Can that lose efficiency? It was a split-second movement, but is that going to affect that pull?
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, if that hand stays off too long, then definitely. But in this instance, it was on the way back, so it was on the way back to the catch position. So no.
Cool. Well, that's good to know that that's not going to affect her in this workout. As we say, just looking across the floor, as we see the judges, as we mentioned, those judges are moving back to help us understand who is leading and who is working through what round. So these guys will be of major importance to us as we try and help you guys through. But as you can see, there is nothing really in this. It does look like we've got lane number 6, Sara Sigmundsdottir is our leader. currently in this workout. And as we can see, there's Sara's fans. There's Sara in beast mode. It does feel like she started off in beast mode early on today.
I mean, she did look very, very strong, and it looks like she's in a good place. And like I said before, Sara Sigmundsdottir in a good place, that's a rough thing. Interesting to see her right next to Jamie Green right here. And Jamie Green's wall balls are actually a little bit faster than Sara's. When it comes to the rower, Sara's a bit faster than Jamie is. So this is still up for grabs. We're 5.5 minutes into this, and there's so much to be done.
And we're going to head over to see Danny Spiegel, one of our friends from the USA, coming over to compete at this weekend. And Danny, there's a lot expected of Danny this weekend. She seems to be considered as an outsider for potentially taking one of these invitational slots.
Well, she is an outsider, and I think there's a lot to prove for her as well. She's got great capacity. There's all kinds of stuff that she could do that could put her in a good position. I'm looking forward to seeing what she's bringing. And don't get me wrong, this is nothing about Danny. This is not for Dan or against Danny in any way, shape, or form. But sometimes hype just isn't enough. You need to go out there and deliver. And I'm looking forward to seeing her do that.
So it's interesting to see here that we've got the resistance dial on 6, and we can just see the calories counting there. So she's through 7 calories in just under 27 seconds. And she's looking like she's taking this very deliberately. There's some real calculation in that movement. Is that an approach you're going to see from the other athletes? We're looking at Haley Adams just in the background shot there as well. She seems to have a different approach on the rower.
I think we're going to see different approaches from everybody, just considering what their strengths is and what they've been doing in the past as well. I think what we're seeing from Danny right now is really good. What I'm a little bit worried about is the form on the rower. You see her butt scoot back first, and then she kind of leans into it. That taxes the lower back a lot. And after about 10 minutes of doing that, it's going to hurt her a little bit on the wall balls. But then again, she's a pretty strong kid.
She is. So we're just looking through on the floor, and as I say, it's hard to say who's in the lead right now, but it does seem that we've got Sara Sigmundsdottir as our leading athlete in this heat. She's looking incredibly strong on the erg. She's doing a great job on that rower.
And here's the thing about Sara right now is that she's currently ahead of Emma Thal's and Janie Edie's pace on the early rounds. So she's doing a great job. And I mean, the thing with Sara is that she doesn't really look like she's going that fast or going that hard. But I mean, this is a great pace. It's a good stroke rate right there. And I mean, she's got to be out to prove a point.
That's the beauty of these things, isn't it? In terms of when you don't look like you're going fast, but the efficiency of movement is allowing you to move really, really fast. And we hear that so much in other things as well. I have mentioned the golf swing and inconsistency in terms of how people have a different golf swing. But sometimes you don't always smack the ball too hard. You might be trying too hard, and the same could be applied here on these rowers.
Oh, absolutely. And just feast your eyes on her technique as well. Heels are dug in, and she's pretty efficient. She catches it right above the toes. So I mean, she's really doing everything right on the rower. And that's an interesting technique right there on the wall balls as well. She's almost all the way to the bottom position when she catches it, which is, you're allowed to do that. Absolutely no problem.
Why do you think that's the approach? Is that, again, is it about comfort? That's what feels good for her.
Absolutely. I think she finds her rhythm. When she does that, she finds her rhythm really, really, really good. She doesn't have to wait for it and then kind of start the movement. She just kind of pops into the bottom and then drops out of it. The weight's not going to be a problem, so it's a smart way of going about her business.
Well, it looks like so. Look, over halfway, we're working through the floor, just looking at the wide shot. It does seem that Sara is still our leading athlete in this, but then there's other athletes who are not far behind her. 2 lanes down from her, which is Courtney Walker. Courtney Walker in lane number 4. And then we've got Jamie Green in lane 5. So those 2 are right up there on this in this heat count at the moment in terms of getting where they are in terms of number of reps.
And what we're seeing is that just what we talked about before. If you've got great athletes next to each other, they'll feed off each other. They'll kind of find themselves in that pace, which is good if you're capable of holding that pace, which is bad if it means you're going to implode around the 12-minute mark.
What's the level of, from your experience of being around these athletes, in terms of how much they want to support each other? Obviously, the beauty of CrossFit is the community supports when the workout is going on. But obviously, this is a serious competition. How do you sort of separate those factors, or do you just accept that this is part of the sport?
Well, let's put it this way. If you walk into the warm-up area, these guys are all high-fiving and chest-bumping each other. They're talking, they're sharing all kinds of different things and just things that have been going on. A lot of them have the same coaches as well. So in there, it's all fun and games, and we're being professionals, but we're also being very courteous to each other. But once they get on the floor, everybody wants to go out there and perform their best, not at the expense of somebody else, but to prove a point of where they're at with their training.
Okay, so we're back with Danny Spiegel on the rower again, just sort of seeing what the row count is. It's not Danny, apologies. It's actually not Danny, apologies for that. But it's interesting to see that view of the count in terms of the time that it's taking, and the average time that it's taking people to get through that. It's a minute and a half is there or thereabouts for that period on the rower. And we're just going to move over to lane 6. We're going to go back to Sara Sigmundsdottir, see how she's doing. As we say, she seems to be the height of efficiency right now. She seems to be flying through, having no problems with this workout. She seems like there's almost a smile on her face as she's pulling through on that rower.
I can't blame her. I mean, she's doing everything right to produce energy at the exact right time, recovering on the way back into the catch. Handle is moving all the time just the way it should be. Heels are duck in, which means that she expends energy the way that she's supposed to. She's utilizing both the posterior chain, so hamstrings, glutes, and lower back, but also her quads, then handing off to the pull. I just like what I'm seeing from her, and that's why she's so efficient.
We're going to see who else is on the floor. We're going to have a look at our wide shot here on the background, because it's interesting to see who's doing what on the floor from a leading point of view. So let's see if, yeah, so Sara is maintaining her lead. So her judge has just taken another step back there. So Sara is our heat leader, and it would be good to go and have a look at to see how Emma McQuaid and maybe lane 8 and lane 9, Jessica Griffiths and Emma Quaid, to see how they're doing. So these are athletes who have performed well again so far this year, and looking at the importance of this sanctional event, and also the comparison in terms of what they're going to look at from an open point of view as well.
I think it's just interesting to point out that Sara was almost 19 wall balls ahead of the next athlete. That's just that's a lot of distance.
So we're just going to go and get a little bit closer to Jess Griffiths in terms of her technique. She's working with the guys from Team WIT. She was part of the team that won at Wadapalooza. She's had a great year from a team event point of view, so she's got an invite from that to go to the games in team, but she wants that individual place as well. Do you see her as a serious contender this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's one thing to be on a team, and I think it gives you great experience. And I think if you use it wisely, that's also going to mature you as an athlete, definitely.
How important is
an individual athlete, that is, sorry.
Absolutely. How important is competition experience to set you up for this? Because I imagine we've got Hayley Adams, who is a young athlete. She's coming through out of the teens category. She's making her way into the world of elite women, elite competition. How important is that experience to move across for there and to help her to get better as the years go on?
Well, it's huge. I mean, the more experience you get from competition, the better it is. And I mean, you learn so many things about yourself in competition, which is exactly what you want. The more experience you've got, the more relaxed you can be, both in warm-up, in preparation, and on actual game day. So
as we're just talking about Hayley Adams being one of our youngest elite female competitors, she is training out with the CrossFit Mayhem team, and she's training with Rich Froning on a regular basis. How important is his experience in helping her?
Well, that's exactly, it's kind of the same thing. If you've got somebody who's been there and been around so many times and done so many things, then being able to share that experience with the people or with young athletes like Hayley Adams, that is just, you can't pay for that kind of experience.
Well, experience counts for so much, and it seems like it counts for so much in this sport. I think there's so much experience you can get from recovery. You look at how they approach a workout, the psychology of going into it, the physical preparation. There's so much that can be done to infuse and inform.
And here's Björk Odensdottir, who just got her residency in the U.S. as well. So it's not just that she's a great athlete, she's got good stuff going on. She may be able to move to the States within a foreseeable future with her husband, Blaine McConnell.
Now, Björk has been around for a while as well. She's competed at the games. She's had her moment there as well, performed exceptionally well when the games were in California. It's great to see her back at this elite level competition and doing so well, and to see her in, as I say, part of this extraordinary field of athletes.
Björk is an amazing athlete, and it's not just on the field, just with her competitors as well. And I just love the way that she's interacting with everybody. I'm happy to see Björk on the floor. I want to see Björk more often on the floor. That being said, she can't be out there all the time. Björk, I'm stoked to see you here.
It's awesome to have her back, and look, we've got Sara's support team going crazy for her. Sara's family, get that right. Sorry guys, that's Sara's family We've got 5 seconds left on this clock. Jamie Green is pushing out to try and complete her round. You've got Sara trying to keep her score going. That is it. That is the end of the first round of elite women's competition. It's fantastic to get that workout on the board, not only for the athletes, but also for the fans. We've been able to see these first athletes come down, and Sara has taken that first heat. And it's going to be very interesting to see what her final score is. We'll keep you posted as we get those stats coming through, and we'll hopefully have a chat with her in a little while. But some thoughts on that first workout from all of those athletes.
Sara is here to make a point. She wants to get that ticket to go to the CrossFit Games. She